Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Pilot On NFL podcast, brought to you by the Props Network. I am one of your hosts, Steve Clark, and I'm joined by, as always, by my good friend who's outside right now. His name is Joel Walkowski. What's up, Joel?
Hello, Joel Walkowski here. Happy to be half of the fabulous football boys here with 52 yards Steve Clark. He doesn't like that nickname.
Hey,
we're good friends. We're increasing our relationship, but once you see me back on this pickup basketball court, there is going to be some trouble brewing.
I'm so nervous.
We're
I think
2 hours a day
terrible.
shooting.
2 hours a day?
Yeah, yesterday I shot for 2 hours. I've reworked my whole release, and
Holy shit.
I mean, to the fellas, I'm so bad before. Like, I'm doing all this work to become average. Like, I love basketball so much, I can't shoot a lick. It's truly it's like the episode of Twilight Zone where the guy breaks his glasses in a library. I'm doing that. And to the fellas, we all got to keep it tight during quarantine. At home Pilates videos.
Yep, my fiance does that.
Yeah, they will humble you and you will grow. All right, but happy to be here.
Hey, I'm being very brave today, I think. I'm not wearing a hat, and I haven't had a haircut since February.
You look good. I'm at that point in my life where I am balding, but when I grow out my hair, I look so much balder than when I keep it cut. Like here, it's like, oh, he's got that cool Brian Urlacher thing, and like when I have a little bit, it's like just George Costanza.
Yeah, I'm at the fun.
How jarring was it that Brian Urlacher got hair plugs?
Oh, it sucks. It's one of my least favorite things that's ever happened.
Brian Urlacher getting hair plugs?
Yeah, and then him like being a spokesperson. What is he a spokesperson for now? Is it for the hair plugs?
Yeah, it's got to be for the hair plugs. I could imagine he's the spokesman for a TV dinner that's really targeting men. So we'll see. He's got that look to him.
Yeah. I'm at the fun stage of my male pattern baldness career where my side hair grows way faster than my top hair. So pretty soon I'll be like looking like Hey Arnold, but for now I'm looking.
Yeah, but Hey Arnold, classic New York look. That is an icon. He's only appreciating value. Twitter said it best. Who saw the modern world coming more than Stoop Kid?
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, that guy's ahead of the curve. Well, let's get into NFL football action. We've got some week 1 bets.
Yes.
We have some notes. Before we do, I do want to update everyone on the cameo. I put out the request for Nickel Roby-Coleman, and they took the money out of my account, but I have yet to receive it. So I think it's going to go through any day now.
Hopefully by next episode, we can play that cameo for everyone. I'm very excited.
Yeah,
and I don't know what you told him to say either.
Well, I told him I lost a draft bet. I told him you were a big Rams fan. I told him we had a football podcast together. There is a prohibitive character limit, so I was doing my best within some constraints.
All right, well, cool. Hopefully he checks out the podcast now that you mentioned it. And if you are listening, Nickel, come on the show. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, if you are an NFL player, if you know an NFL player, please put them in contact. We will make them look so good. Yeah, this is just the latest in a long line of stalking Detroit Lions. I remember this yesterday. Joey Harrington, when he came to the team, he signed up for a Kroger gift, like the rewards card.
Yeah.
And we took his phone number and we just prank called him for his entire Lions career. And then in college, after a Thanksgiving Day loss, I swear to God this is true. My friend Brian got a wrong number on his parents' answering machine of Joey Harrington talking about what happened that day and how disappointed he was.
What?
Yeah. So
that rules.
Yeah, it sounds like a fever dream, but let's talk to some Lions instead of just eavesdropping on their affairs.
Let's get them on the actual pod. Okay, so the big news that happened this week, the big news, I guess, in quotes, is that the schedules came out on Thursday. But there's some fun stuff that was revealed on the schedules. 8 teams have the maximum 5 primetime games. We got the Ravens, the Patriots, Bucks, 49ers, Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, and Packers. Whatever, it's fine. I guess people want to watch the Patriots, even though they're probably going to be a very average team. The rest of these teams should be playoff teams. Also with the Patriots,
I mean, the Rams are the surprise to me.
Oh,
Like,
well,
I don't know
okay.
that they have the kind of track record to really justify this position. They've lost a lot of their marquee guys, and it's like, oh, what? We're going to see Jared Goff, like, try and make it work on national television? Like, it's the NFC West is getting really tough.
Yeah.
I think the Rams could be in for a hard reboot.
I think the choice of having the Rams have so many primetime games is more about making Los Angeles care about the Rams. Because, like, right now the LA market doesn't give a shit. So having them on primetime so often, I think, is more a ploy to make LA seem like a football city.
Yeah, and you need to do that just to stake the cultural real estate out. Like, having a game at 5 o'clock on a Sunday, like, it is a rallying point for the entire city. Like, the NFL knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's a reason they've become this entertainment monolith. They need to build that brand. And it is kind of telling that you don't see the Chargers getting a similar push.
Right. That is true. Also with the NFC West, the Seahawks, Rams, and the 49ers, all 3 of those teams are the top 3 teams in most traveling this season, which is to be expected since they're West Coast teams, but they're all traveling over 25,000 miles, which is
and like
crazy.
I think the distance traveled, like, I know there is actually some correlation between that and win-loss record. I just have a hard time wrapping my mind around it. Like, ultimately, I don't think it affects the body to be on a 3-hour flight as opposed to a 6-hour flight any differently.
Right. You wouldn't think so.
These are well-coached teams. They're going to be just fine. Every NFC West team could conceivably take that division if they get the breaks.
Yeah. The Ravens were kind of thrown a softball with this schedule. They have the easiest schedule based off last season's records, and they only have to travel 6,000 miles total, which is the least in the NFL. So they could easily go 13-3, 14-2 again.
Yeah, and we've already discussed, like, we love the Ravens Super Bowl future. We love the Chiefs Super Bowl future. And, like, the NFL has a tendency, it creates narratives with these teams of overcoming the hump. And Lamar Jackson is ready to have the season that Pat Mahomes had last season.
Yeah.
We'll see how the NFL adjusts to them. And the Ravens, like, they're already dominating the headlines. Like, geez Louise, the Earl Thomas story was just a gift from the comedy gods.
Yeah. What exactly happened there? His wife pulled a gun on him?
His wife walked in on him having a threesome with another woman and his brother, and she held him at gunpoint.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the brother was involved. That makes it, I mean, it's already terrible, but that makes it just even more disgusting.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's good to see that families are together during this time of coronavirus. Like, I know me, like, they're doing better. Him and his brother are doing better than me and my fiance, to be honest with you. So at least we know that familiar relationship still has that spark. And, like, come on, look at the rich history of the Baltimore Ravens. They've had guys who were just kind of superstars on and off the field, and, like,
murderers
for it. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Murderers. Well, I believe John Ogden played chess, so also fairly interesting.
All right, that's enough about the schedule. I mean, it was exciting when it came out. It gave me an hour. Like, that was fun to look through it for an hour, but now we have to wait 4 months for football to start, which is rough. Luckily, the Rams released new uniforms.
And it looks really cool, actually. A lot of people are hating on it. It's the first NFL uniform in history to use gradient numbers.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that the first 3 times I looked at it. Like, I was like, oh, these are cool. And, like, I saw people bitching at it. I went back, I looked a little closer, and then I was like, damn, I already said this thing was cool. So I made my stance and got some different information.
It's fine. It looks like a Pro Bowl jersey to me. And the
It's
colors are like IKEA colors.
a little bit. It's actually it's pretty close to an electric blue, and it's their like a tweak of their classic uniforms. Like, it is fun to go back and watch a movie like Heaven Can Wait and see those classic blues.
I guess so.
Probably the most embarrassing moment of my life. I was reading the Heaven Can Wait book, and I was like, oh, this is a really good book, interesting story. And then right as I was about to finish, I realized it was a novelization. I was so embarrassed. Like, oh my God, they commissioned some writer to write a book about this stupid Warren Beatty football movie in 2 weeks. Like, here I am being emotionally affected by it.
Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland will not be returning to Monday Night Football on ESPN. Is this a win for you?
Yeah, those guys were terrible. I will give them credit for speaking up when the referees cheated the Lions in that Monday Night Football game.
Oh.
I appreciate their efforts to try and right an injustice.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just weren't good at their jobs.
No.
And it seems like Dan Orlovsky is the clubhouse leader for it.
That rules. I love Dan Orlovsky. I mean,
yeah,
we'll see if he'll be able to keep his feet in the press box.
Yeah, man. He talks about the Lions a lot. Obviously, he spent the majority of his career in Detroit. And like, this is kind of a departure from what you would expect. He's not the biggest star by any means, but like, he's been engaging, he's worked hard, and like, he just has a mind for the game. Like,
yeah,
it seems like he could have easily developed with that brain into like an offensive coordinator, but you know, he's just a narcissist who needs the spotlight, so he went into broadcast.
How about this news? Lamar Jackson's pregame meal before every game is shrimp Alfredo.
Yeah, I mean, Steve makes the outlines here, and I try and be quick and funny, like, but I don't have anything funny to say about this one. It's like, oh, this motherfucker is eating pasta before the game.
He's loading up with carbohydrates, which scientifically is good for your body.
Yeah, Steve Irwin would say, oh, he eats linguine and prawn. And he eats shrimp scampi, and when he leaves the pocket, he's a shrimp on a scamper.
Oh, God. All
now,
right,
hey, where do you expect me to take it?
I'm sorry. I put it on the outline.
What can I do with the shrimp scampi news? Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield eats that for every meal, if last season's Instagrams were any indication.
Yeah, there you go. All right, yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? I thought it was interesting. This is what kind of NFL news is coming out right now, so I had to throw it on.
And I like that you didn't have on the fact that the starting safety had a threesome with his brother and got held like dumb boy, but you did report that the starting quarterback likes pasta. You're like the janitor who gets paid off in Billy Madison. Miss Lippy's car is green. Billy likes to drink soda. We're just having fun. We love each other here at the Props Network.
Oh yeah. It's all love.
And we did well on our NFL draft bets. I hit on, if you recall, Cowboys to take an offensive player with pretty good odds. Jalen Hurts to go before the 55.5 pick, and a couple parlays that didn't pan out, but whatever. So we actually did pretty well. So we had $75, and my partner Donnie, I had nothing to do with this. He took the money and he bet it all on UFC 249, which took Jacksonville just like the suck off. It did. Same place.
Hell yeah.
The suck off was our tournament last week to determine the worst team of all time. It was the $76.
Yes.
And so Donnie actually went. He was so excited to have some sports to watch. He bet on every match, and he went 9 for 9.
What?
Yeah. So he turned our $75 into $249.
Holy crap. Good for you guys.
And so I've been trying to sell him on some long shot NFL futures that I saw on DraftKings.
Okay.
And I found some that were pretty interesting. He won't let me pull the trigger on Matthew Stafford, 50-1 for MVP, or Kirk Cousins, 66-1 to win MVP.
Okay.
I do kind of like the stories there, but first of all, I have two offensive rookie of the years. Cam Akers, 20-1 in that Rams offense, in that gradient. It's going to be tough to catch him out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And really, that guy's just going to have so many opportunities to succeed.
I love that pick.
You're a Rams fan. Who's his biggest threat for touches?
God. Malcolm Brown, if he's even still on the team, I guess. Who's fine, but no, he'll lead the team in touches for sure.
Yeah, and if McVay is the coach we think he is, like, he should probably put up good production right from the start. The other one I like for rookie of the year is Justin Jefferson, 20-1, stepping into that number 2 role in the Minnesota offense.
Yeah, he's
a great possession receiver. They don't really run that complicated of a stuff, and like I think you could just give them 2 Adam Thielens immediately.
Yeah, I would put a little money on both of those. 20-1 for both. That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're up a little bit, so I'm gonna do $10 on each, and then I do have a few week 1 picks already. Yeah, look at me, I'm a degenerate. And then defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, 25-1. We have a new coach. If Cleveland goes on a run, he's probably one of the most has more raw talent than any other defender in the NFL. If they're able to put it together under Kevin Stefanski, he will be a reason why the redemption story is there.
Yeah.
And I can totally see it going that way.
Yeah. If he can avoid getting into fights on the field. I guess that's more on the other players, just not allegedly saying racist things, though.
Yeah, and he's a good guy, I think, deep down. Like,
he's a smart dude. He's a really smart guy.
Yeah, so I like that. And my last $10 future is Mike Zimmer, 30-1 coach of the year. Those odds are just wrong. He's never won it. He is actually a great coach. And for him to just he's going to have the opportunity to reinvent the Vikings defense on the fly.
Yeah.
Empowered behind 14 draft picks. I really think he's just going to have so much depth, and they're just going to obliterate the NFC North and run away with it. That's my gut feeling.
I love those. So yeah, throw a little money on each of those and hope that one of them hits.
Yeah, those are my futures. So let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Oh yeah. So this week I'm going to talk to you guys about the Props Network, who actually sponsors this show. They are the ones who allow us to make the show. And now that sports are finally starting to trickle back into our lives, if you're excited to do some betting, check out thepropsnetwork.com. They've got great sports betting bonuses and sign-up offers in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Indiana, West Virginia, and more states are hopefully coming soon. Some of these sports books are going all out for these UFC fights, as I'm sure Joel and Donnie know. So claim your bonus on thepropsnetwork.com. We're about to dive into some week 1 NFL lines, and we're getting those from DraftKings Sportsbook, where you can also get a great bonus from thepropsnetwork.com if you check it out right now, if you want to jump on some of these lines. So that's it. Check out thepropsnetwork.com. All right, week 1, NFL lines. Now the schedule's out, we can talk about this. Let's go through these quickly. I know that you have thoughts on some of them. I have thoughts on small thoughts on all of them, so we'll go through every single game. And we'll start with the season opener, the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 10-point favorites at home. What do you think?
First of all, this game will be on my birthday, and
hey,
I can think of no better gift than the NFL coming back.
Yes.
They would all be worth it. And, we might not get a big Walkowski basketball tournament this year.
Don't talk like that.
But hopefully we will get a Texans-Chiefs game, because I love the Texans in this one.
Wow.
Oh, they blew a terrible lead to Kansas City last year. Oh, they traded away their best player and didn't get enough of a yield in return. However, they have Deshaun Watson, and he's armed with offensive weapons that are actually pretty good although injury prone. And if they're
Yeah.
injury prone, that means they'll be there in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trotting out there with Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, and David Johnson.
Yep.
And he's getting 10 points as well in an emotional game. Give me the Texans all day here.
I agree that 10 points is a lot of points here for the Chiefs. I think it's a little bit too big of a number. So right now I would lay off this game. But if it dips to -7 or -8, I would take the Chiefs. Just because of Andy Reid's track record coming off of either the bye or coming off the offseason. He's 18-3 following a bye week in the regular season, and he's 5-1 in week 1 since joining the Chiefs. He's just incredible when he has time to prepare. But I do agree that 10 is too big of a number. So if I had to go one way with this 10-point spread, I would lean Texans. But if it dips, give me the Chiefs. All right. Now, moving on to Sunday. We'll start with your Lions. Bears at Lions. The Lions are -1.
You obviously got to go Lions here. These are even teams, and home field's worth 3. Yep. Lions should be favored by 3 points here, so them getting 1 is the smart move.
I'm taking the Lions as well. They just have the better quarterback. I don't know what to expect from the Bears. The Bears could be the worst team in the division this year.
I would imagine that to be the case. I think they're just not skilled enough offensively, and the window on that defense is getting the roster getting a little shaky there.
Yeah, so take the Lions -1 there. Browns at Ravens. Ravens are 8-point favorites at home. This game actually opened at -7, so it's moving. Looks like the public is going on Baltimore.
And I got to say, I do love the Browns here. It's a divisional game, so there's a lot of familiarity. And if it's over a touchdown, I got to look at Kevin Stefanski. He's a run control coach. I assume they'll run the offense through Nick Chubb this year, find a lot of success. And a big part of that success is going to be just keeping the clock moving. So I'm all over the Browns here.
I picked the Browns too, just because 8 points is too many for a divisional game like this. Tend to be closer. They played each other tight last year. The one thing that gives me some pause, and that this happens a few times in week 1, is over the last 2 seasons, first-year head coaches are 1-9-1 straight up and 4-7 against the spread. So it takes them a while to settle in, but I do think the Browns could cover 8 points. Since it did open at -7, this might keep moving because Baltimore is such a sexy pick. So if it keeps moving up, I would definitely take them at -9. Okay.
Absolutely.
Packers at Vikings. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites at home.
This is a perfect line. Stay away.
Okay.
3.5. That's exactly where it should be. These teams, their matchups I've noticed are pretty hard to predict. So, just enjoy it. At least one of them will lose.
Yeah, I would also stay away from this game. The one thing that scares me a little bit is if there are no fans in the stadium, then I'd probably lean Packers here with the 3.5 points. But if the Vikings truly have home field, I would stay away because I just don't know which way it'll go.
Yeah, the Vikings, that roster is going to get there, but they have a lot of new pieces to integrate. So you're going to see them get better as the season goes along, I believe.
Yeah.
Next game, Colts -7 at Jaguars. Easily take the Jaguars there. Phillip Rivers is absolutely washed. And the Jaguars are a horrible team hosting a mediocre team. Yeah. So they should be able to keep it within a touchdown.
Yeah. I would take the Jaguars here as well. This game opened at 6.5. So if you want the Jaguars, you might be able to wait a little longer to get a better number, but I would take them at +7 as well. Next game, Raiders at Panthers. The Raiders are 1-point favorites on the road.
Is this the most unappealing matchup the NFL could put out? Of all 32 teams, this is the least interesting one of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
I would take the Panthers because it's basically a pick 'em and they're at home. But yeah, who cares about this game?
If I had to wager, I would find a line for McCaffrey receiving yards.
Yep.
He'll torch Tyre Whitehead. Why not?
Dolphins at Patriots. The Patriots are 6.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, And the Dolphins always play the Patriots well.
Yep.
They have Kyle Van Noy. He provides insight on that locker room and the way that offense is run. And they're going against a quarterback in his first home start. Like, Stidham getting a touchdown in this game doesn't feel correct to me.
Yeah, I agree. I would stay away from this. The one thing that I do think the Patriots win the game outright. I just don't think they can cover nearly a 6.5 points is so many points. Rookie quarterbacks in Foxborough since Bill Belichick became head coach are 0-12. So if Tua is starting, don't like his odds. But yeah, 6.5 points is a lot for a Patriots team with a lot of question marks against a division rival. Jets at Bills, another AFC matchup. Bills are 6.5 point favorites at home.
Bills can't score points. Go with the Jets all the way here. Jets were so snake bit last season. Their talent level is higher than the record indicates. So I think they'll hang tough in a divisional matchup. Look for a bounce back year from Sam Darnold. It can't be worse.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Jets can easily cover 6.5 points. 6.5 points is a lot of points considering these two teams, they split their games last year. And the one game that the Bills beat the Jets, they only won by 1 point. And Josh Allen had 4 turnovers in that game. So yeah, I'll definitely take the Jets to cover 6.5 points. Eagles at Redskins. The Eagles are 6.5 point road favorites.
This is a tough line for me. I can't really develop a take one way or another. Gun to my head, I'd probably go Redskins. Rivera's first year home opener, and they'll play conservative behind Haskins.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. The line opened at -5, so it's moved 1.5 since these schedules came out 6 days ago. So the public is going hard on the Eagles. I'd probably stay away just because the number's so big. But if it drops back down to 5 or 6, I might take the Eagles here.
Yeah, and I'm pretty opinionated in terms of my expectations for most of the teams in the league. But Eagles, Washington, I'm going to need to see them play a little bit before I develop my take.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles were so hurt last year that I feel like the Redskins are not going to win this game. But I mean, who knows? We haven't seen the Redskins in their current form. So
yeah, I mean, they might just come out with an insanely good defensive line, and if they're able to run the ball and hit slants to McLaurin, like there's a way that Haskins doesn't have to do much for them to be effective, and it's kind of the way Ron Rivera teams have been.
Yeah, and we still don't know if that's their quarterback room. Like the Redskins could grab a free agent quarterback.
Yeah, and you know who they could grab, and like, come on. Let's go.
It would be fun.
Put the star in the spotlight.
Next game is the Seahawks at the Falcons. Seahawks are 1 point road favorites.
When in doubt, bet on the Seahawks.
Yep.
It is fun. You can't go wrong betting on Russell Wilson. I have a better track record wagering on him than any other guy in the league. God bless him and that man Pete Carroll.
Yep, that's exactly what I think too. If you're betting Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll against Matt Ryan and Dan Quinn, and it's essentially a pick 'em, take Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Chargers at Bengals. The Chargers are 3.5 point favorites on the road.
Man, I can't believe I said all that shit about the Chargers being my second team. I am so bored by them taking Justin Herbert. I thought that would be Isaiah Simmons or Tua, maybe a little Cam Newton in there. Like, I don't want to have to watch Brock Osweiler 2.0, and I think that's going to happen.
Interesting.
Chargers, Bengals. Like, I'm not too high on either of these two rookie quarterbacks. So,
yeah,
I'd stay away.
Yeah, I would stay away from this too. The Chargers, usually by week 1, about 6 or 7 of their key players are hurt. So like betting on them this early just doesn't make a ton of sense with their injury history. So yeah, I would stay away from this one as well. Cardinals at 49ers. The 49ers are 8.5 point favorites at home.
And you got to love the Cardinals here.
Yeah.
They were scoring points at the end of this year. Like, the 49ers have a huge target on them as the regression team. Like, there's going to be a lot of different pieces there. They're shuffling people all over the defensive line. And if you got a quarterback who creates space, that mitigates a good defensive line.
Totally. I think this number is way too big. 8.5 points is crazy. Last year when these two teams played, the Niners won their first game by 3, and the Cardinals were winning in their second matchup in the fourth quarter before they collapsed. So I think this will be a close game. If the Cardinals can protect Kyler, which is a big if considering the Niners pass rush, the Cardinals could just win this game outright.
Absolutely. It's their opportunity to make a statement in the division. They'll be prepping all offseason. And, I think you'll know everything you need to know about the Cardinals this season from this game. If they get exposed in this matchup, I think that reflects horribly on Cliff Kingsbury. So I think he'll tell you the job he's going to do for the rest of the season in this game. Pay attention to that as a handicapper.
Totally. All right, Bucks at Saints. The Saints are 4-point favorites at home.
Yeah, take the Saints all day. They're gonna thrash them. The Bucks, it's gonna be a painful adjustment, and Brady's gonna be turning the ball over.
Yep.
And the Saints, if it's open in New Orleans, it's gonna be a party. They come to perform in that scenario.
Absolutely. And another thing about this game is I would wait to place your bet because I do feel like the Saints number will go down because the public is going to go so hard on Tampa that you could probably get the Saints at -2 by the time the season starts.
That's an excellent call there. I didn't think of that, but that line should move. And then, we're going to make a lot of money this season going against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
You heard it here
Just
first.
because the public is going to go so hard on him, we can get some great value.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we know the metrics for quarterbacks in their first year in the Arian system. We know he's 43 years old and possibly a human being.
Last game on the Sunday slate is Cowboys at Rams. The Cowboys are 2.5-point road favorites.
It's a public team. Nonetheless, I still like the Cowboys here to run wild. There's so many offensive weapons. I think they're going to have a lot of fun out there if they can account for the loss of Travis Frederick.
Yep.
It's the same every year. The Cowboys are never well coached or well run, but they have an elite level of talent, and you should see that in this matchup.
This might be the first game that I full out disagree with you. I think the Rams. I'm surprised the Rams aren't the favorite in this game. Just because of Sean McVay's track record in week 1, he's 3-0 straight up and against the spread in week 1 games with a point differential of +60 in those 3 games. He's really good when he has time to prepare. I would take their money line here at +120, the Rams. It's in Los Angeles too.
Yeah, but they're indifferent even when they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to come out to see anyone but Ezekiel Elliott in this matchup.
That's true. There'll probably be a 50-50 split for fans.
Your argument for the Rams is persuasive. I didn't know that about Sean McVay. Checkmate. But if you are going to bet on the Rams, buy a point, make it 3.5. There, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
This should be Zeke Elliott can probably win this game if used correctly and away from Aaron Donald. So,
that's the thing. I think Aaron Donald can really wreak havoc on this new Dallas offensive line. But that's a game I'm obviously really excited about. But Monday Night Football. There's 2 Monday night games as usual on week 1. The first one is the Steelers at Giants. The Steelers are -4.
Let's go Giants money line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think these teams are probably about the same talent level. Roethlisberger is not. I think it's going to be the year he sees the finish line. It has to be. He's coming off an injury.
Yep.
He's constantly overweight.
Yep.
And there's a talented defense in Pittsburgh, but 4 points at home with a retooled team, Giants will show up in this situation.
I agree. It's the biggest question is Big Ben the same Big Ben as he was a couple of years ago? And I don't think he is. I would take the Giants with the points here.
Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh should be getting 4 points on the road against anybody.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
did they prove to us last year? They're just overrated because they're wearing the black and yellow.
And then the last game, the late Monday night game, is the Titans at the Broncos. Broncos are 1.5-point favorites at home.
Well, alongside the 49ers, the Titans are my regression team. Love the Broncos here, trotting out with a pretty incredible new set of weapons. Like, I look at the Broncos they could, if everything clicks, they could be a top 5 offense. You bring in KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy to go with Cortland Sutton, who was a legit number 1. You got Melvin Gordon to go with Phillip Lindsay and Noah Fant. This team gets conditioned. Come to Mile High. We'll run you out of the gym.
Exactly. That's my exact thought as well, is that there's probably going to be a shortened offseason, possibly only a couple preseason games. And then the Titans are going to go to a stadium 5,000 feet above sea level and expect to keep up with a team that's been training in it. So I just think the Titans get gassed and the Broncos can easily win by a point, 2 points. That is it. That's all of the week 1 games. We just covered that in like 15 minutes. Incredible.
We are degenerates. Well, we do have another segment coming up. I had a lot of fun, like kind of exploring like the moments that shifted Detroit Lions history last week. So we're going to have on some fans of different teams to do deep dives. This week we have a Patriots fan, Nick Stevens. You might know him as Fitzy. You might know him from WEEI. He will be joining us shortly. And now just let us connect the call.
Here we go.
Nick Stevens, a.k.a. Fitzy from WEEI in Boston. Say hello, Nick. How are you?
What's up, Joel and Steve from the Props Network? Joel, you are the master of disaster. You are the Alan Hearns of the sick burns. You are the host of the football roast. And you're the only Owski in my life that hasn't cut and run for fucking Tampa Bay. Great to be here. And also there's Steve. Hey, I wore this for you today, by the way. This is my favorite sweatshirt. This is for you, Joel. This is New England versus Airplane, which, of course, you know we cribbed from you years ago. So,
absolutely. I know the entire NFL world hates the Patriots, but you know what? I've always kind of been on your sides, and like it has been a tough offseason for you. I'm sure a lot of our viewers, listeners, whatever, have seen your take on it so far. You holding up all right?
Yeah, no, listen, every night I rub the Boudreaux's butt cream for the ass reaming that we've taken this offseason is soothed with 6 Super Bowl championships. So I'm okay with it.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. Honestly, any Patriots fan, any Boston sports fan that's going to piss and moan about anything other than the fact that they've seen the same friggin' people inside the same house eating the same food every day, and that they don't have a job, or that they're afraid of, or their stimulus is going to run out come August, like, then their priorities are completely twisted. And they're obviously not a fan of recent history, because nothing lasts forever. Valar friggin' Margulis, right? Like, the Patriots went on the most epic run in history, establishing a double dynasty. Like, they won 3 in a row. They skipped an entire decade. And then Belichick and Brady, they added a Gronk, and they picked up a couple of spare parts from Cleveland and went back to 4 more Super Bowls and won 3 more. So, to watch Brady and Gronk go down to a fantasy football team, in a city full of strip clubs, Hooters, and dollar drafts, who the hell wouldn't want to do that? And I want to be in Tampa right now, Steve. I want to be in Tampa right now, Joel. Tom Brady's the smartest man in the world.
Yeah.
It sucks up here right now. You see these videos of, like, maybe you guys don't follow him as obsessively as I do on Instagram. See these videos of, like, Brady's kids jumping in the pool and Brady taking him all buff and tan with his, like, obnoxious Oakley tan lines. And I thought Tom Brady wasn't able to get a tan because he stays so hydrated that he's able to, like, reflect the power of the sun. He's out jet skiing. Meanwhile, the rest of us are, like, wrestling people just so we can eat trash for dinner. What the hell?
Look, the NFL world doesn't know that. I know it. Tom Brady retired in February. He is chilling. The Tampa Bay Bucks, they're going to be a train wreck. Gronkowski, he's got to gain 30 pounds, and he still has to give up that WWE championship. So there's a lot to do. And we know the genius of this operation is Belichick. Brady's the GOAT, but he's also the luckiest frickin' quarterback who ever lived. And I want to see this year Belichick up against the rope. Brady's gone, but more so than Brady being gone, I think, would you think that maybe the losses on defense are even worse?
Well, listen, and you're talking to a guy, what a surprise, that I'm just, as big a Star Wars fan as I am, like a sports and Patriots fan. And we all know that the Jedi Knights and the Sith Masters are great, but you don't turn your back on the Emperor, because I don't care if it takes J.J. Abrams and a whole shitload of retcon to bring him back a second time when nobody wanted to see him and we're all happy with him being dead. But you don't turn your back on the Emperor. He is the true evil genius behind the entire empire. And to anyone out there who thinks the Patriots are going to run 4-12, 5-11, 3-13, and take a place that Buffalo, the Jetropolitans, and the Finns have always wanted to see them, that is in the cellar with a bunch of R. Kelly's girlfriends and Buffalo Bills capturees and sewn human flesh. All I'll say is this: I find your lack of faith in Belichick disturbing. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Brady's going to put up numbers in Tampa. And I'll tell you right now, since this is Props Network, here's free money from your old pal Fitzy. Take your stimulus check or whatever else you got left, all right? Or however many cans you're going to recycle, or whoever you're going to beat in a pickup game out in Sedona, Arizona tonight with your Detroit by Brooklyn mad hoop skills. Because I know you're like Woody Harrelson and White Men Can't Jump. I know you got a little Billy Hoyle in you.
Yeah, you are correct, sir. You are correct.
Yeah, you've got in your feet what I've got in my mug every night, mad hops. And you take that extra money, Joel. You take that extra money, Steve, in that fancy apartment that looks West Elmish behind you on the Zoom right now. And you go bet over 9.5 wins on the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers ball. That is the easiest found money. That is a suitcase with full of $10,000 sitting on your front lawn. It's yours. Why don't you want it? Go get that suitcase. Go get that suitcase and make it yours right now. Easiest money ever.
So you're in the camp that the Bucs are going to be vastly improved this year with Tom and Gronk then.
Oh, hell all right. So if you're Brady, right, take a huge step back. Like you look at this now, you can squeeze Belichick for $20 million this year, tops. And he still wants you to go a year at a time.
For sure.
And he's going to be completely unbendable, inflappable, whatever the word is, right? He's not going to change who he is or what he's done.
Yeah.
And you've got that talent, and you've got his great scheme, and you've got all that history. But then you've got $25 million per year guaranteed in a state with no income tax, perpetual sunshine, and you've got 2 of the top 10 wide receivers in football, and you've got 2 of the best 15 tight ends. Oh, and you just coaxed the greatest tight end of all time to come out of retirement. And Gronk at 70%, 65%, whatever he comes back at this year, is still 250% better than most of the tight ends in the NFL. The Bucs are going to put up – Nate Burleson was banging the drum for him the other day on Good Morning Football with AirPods from your house. He was saying, like, this might be the greatest offense Brady's ever been on. 2007 would like to have a word with that.
Yep.
But they're going to be ridiculous this year. Mike Evans, he'll ballpark what Randy Moss did. Chris Godwin, that kid is absurd, and it's a contract year coming up for him. Cameron Brate, just happy to be there. O.J. Howard's in a walk year. Gronk's getting $10 million down there to tell Camille to look this way as he bangs everything else that way. Come on, they're going to be unstoppable. The only thing is, does Arians get Brady killed in the no risk it, no biscuit offense?
Right.
Yeah, I'm worried because 3 times quarterbacks played in an Arians offense for the first time and committed more than 40 turnovers in a season. It happened with Jameis, of course it did, but it also happened with Carson Palmer and Andrew Luck. And I feel like Brady has had it pretty good with these underneath routes. I mean, at the end of the year, I'm thinking of that Tennessee game. I'm thinking of that Buffalo game in Week 17. Like, I didn't see that arm strength for Brady. And if you're going to have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, like, I hope my quarterback has the cannon to get it there. And, like, I'm glad you're supporting Tom. At the other side of the coin, Belichick must be so happy. He lost Brady. He lost his starting tackle. Jamie Collins is gone. Deron Harmon is gone. We took 3 starters. Van Noy is gone. Bill Belichick, I cannot wait to see him go to war armed with only a world-class secondary.
Right. But hey, listen, that first of all is so much, as the kids like to say, there's a lot to unpack there, Joel.
You've been going for 5 minutes. I'm dishing it back, baby boy. It's
I
Rip
love
City
it. No,
USA over here.
You lit it. You kidding me? And I got 15 more where that came from. You lit that trail with so many good breadcrumbs. I'm going to stop and help myself to every one of them. First of all, this is New England, all right? We're used to picking fights when the odds are not in our favor. We started this country for all y'all mother effers, all right? So you're welcome. Right now, you guys would be calling your fries chips, and you'd be talking like you're in a Hugh Grant movie or a shitty Jason Statham action pick if it wasn't for us. So you're welcome, and I like the odds, and I'm betting on it. As far as the defensive attrition out there to Patriots Midwest, I mean, you guys, honestly, like, Matt Patricia you want to talk about, like, if Bill Belichick is the Neiman Marcus version of the head coach, sitting on a shelf for like 3 years with like a 2-inch layer of dust on him at the dollar store is Matt Patricia, man. He just, for the Patriots Midwest, you guys continue to try to just harvest organs from the body of previous Patriots. And while it looks great in the offseason and on paper, stop me if you've heard this before, but that's not where they play the games. And either they go 10-6 this year, or GTFO and take your big fat paycheck and that silly little wheelie thing you took to your press conferences with your gimp leg out of here, right?
What's going to happen is every Lions fan I know who is on the right side of history hates Matt Patricia, and we aren't just going to get out of the regime unscathed. It's going to last. It's going to linger. We had Matt Millen for 8 years with a 10% winning percentage. The Lions will be the worst division champion in NFL history this year, lose a playoff game at home decisively, and we're getting 5 more years of Matt Patricia.
How do we
Lock
know
it in? How
do we know that Matthew Stafford and Kerryon Johnson didn't just go to each other last year around like week 9 or 10 and just have like a we won't call it a murder-suicide pact, but we'll call it like an injured reserve pact where Kerryon was like, yo, kick me in the knee. I need to take the rest of this year off. We suck. And Matt Stafford's like, all right, only if you galooly me in the back with this crowbar just so I can stop playing ball. I mean, these guys, they're going to get killed out there. I mean, there's so much talent on that team. Deron Harmon can still play ball. Jamie Collins, what you're going to get in him is the most physically gifted football freak that may have ever lined up on your defensive side of the ball. And he's great. You guys had an awesome cornerback, and Matt Patricia looked at Darius Slay, and he was like, what am I going to do with all this talent? Let me get rid of this dollar for 45 cents in Philadelphia and send him to Philadelphia. It just blows my mind. And you've got great receivers out there too, but you play in a tough division. Matt Patricia, the team, you guys haven't been healthy enough to really like kind of come together and gel. And also Matt Patricia. So,
and there is talent on both sides of the roster, but Matt Patricia, you can tell from looking at his silhouette, he does not understand the confines of human conditioning. Right. This team, more than anyone in the NFL, they play man-to-man coverage the entire game. Last year, we gave up 8 fourth quarter leads.
That's
terrible. They're not going to change it. It'll be a train wreck, but I think he's going to find a way to stick around.
And what you said earlier about that, I love that stat about the fact that Bruce Arians in his first year with quarterbacks had them, they turned the ball over combined, or like 40 plus turnover risky or whatever the PFF stat is. And it was Luck in 2012, and it was Carson Palmer, who you obviously rehabilitated and turned into a hell of a quarterback again. And all these guys swear by Bruce Arians as the QB whisperer.
Yeah.
And he did it with Jameis as well. But being on board just with the fact that they've got all that talent down there in Tampa Bay, or the Tampa Patriots, as people call them, whatever.
That is a nice ring. I'll give it to
not bad, right?
Number 2.
They all make me want to stick an ice pick through my eye, but the thing is, like, Jameis went 7-9 last year. The guy threw 30 picks. I think he led the league in pick sixes. He looked at Matt Schaub, and he was like, hold my beer that I can't see because I need LASIK. And then, fumbled, like, I think another 18 times and lost maybe like 8 or 9 of them. So if you just have Brady cut the turnovers down to a combined 20, which would be the most un-Brady-like season ever. If Brady can go 39 touchdowns, 13 picks and 6 fumbles. That's such a massive turnaround from what Jameis did last year. That's got to be good for at least 4 wins. I mean, they lost one game was a pick 6 walk-off towards the end of the season.
Yep.
A bunch of other times they're moving the ball, and Jameis just Amazon primed the victory for the other team by not knowing who the hell he was throwing it to. Brady's turnover reverse, and I know it's a very downfield offense, but the margin for error with the Patriots offense last season was little to nothing. Plus, we played in weather from the Polar Express. Now you go down to spring break weather, and you've got talent that can go catch every ball of yours that might be off target or maybe, is going in an unintended direction, because Brady does have a little tennis elbow from what I've heard. Those guys will make up for what Brady may have been missing, as you were saying earlier, Joel, towards the end of the year when he didn't have like the signature accuracy and that salad dressing zing that Brady would usually put on the ball, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of big bodies to go up there and catch it. And like that division, he's got to salivate at the prospect of playing Atlanta 2 times a year. I know Tom Brady's a sociopath. And like, how do you feel about – I kind of dig the Patriots not drafting a quarterback. Like Stidham, if you go through his history, like he was like a blue chip prospect, went to Auburn where they can't throw the ball ever. And now Bill Belichick has been able to develop him for you. You feel good about that?
Yeah, listen, I mean, it would be silly for me to sit here and say, like, everything I've read from every beat writer, or you guys, Jordan Palmer says he's got the most arm talent he's ever seen. I mean, come on. We've all been there and done that. Like, how many different quarterbacks have we all seen? Do I expect it? Put it this way. Do I expect him to be like the next, Heath Schuler or somebody who's coming out of college with a laser rocket arm who's not going to be able to make his reads and understand a professional offense? No. But for anyone to say, like, Brady made the year leap too, why can't Stidham be the next Brady? Like, let's just walk it back a little bit. If you could get the way Matt Castle played in the second half of the 2008 season out of Jarrett Stidham this year, with Stidham's willingness to adjust to the offense, because Brady kind of didn't want to, because he was like, yeah, dude, I've been here 20 years. Like, the receivers come to me. I don't come to the new receivers. The connection that he had early on in preseason last year, N'Keal Harry got hurt in the preseason game in Detroit out there. Do we play you guys again in the preseason? Because I don't want to.
I think we do play each other in the preseason again. I think it's week 1, and like we got decimated that day too. Like Frank Ragnow's the heart of the offensive line. He went down. Taylor Decker went down. We were behind the 8 ball all season. Still couldn't run the ball.
Is there anyone, by the way, in football with a great, is there a more offensive lineman name than Frank Ragnow?
Yeah.
he was born to play center. Like the doctor put the position on the birth certificate with that one.
Yeah.
If you shake him, do like 6 coney dogs fall out of him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Like you guys took Edelman's ACL in 2017. You robbed us of N'Keal Harry's the first half of his rookie year, which basically took him off the rails last season. Jarrett Stidham's had a chance to play with these kids for a while. Now, am I going to stand here and tell you like N'Keal Harry's going to be Anquan Bolden 2.0, Jacoby Myers is all of a sudden going to be the next version of Deion Branch or Troy Brown, and Julian Edelman is going to, rub some of Gronk's leftover CBD oil and chug some TB12 electrolytes and all of a sudden be 25 years old again? No. But do the Pats have enough to play conservative, super boring, defensive-centric Belichick football, risk-averse with Stidham, makes a couple long throws a game? They try to win a lot of 17-16, 20-17, 14-13 games. Fine. 10-6 is my ceiling for this team.
Wow.
Yeah, I've gone over the schedule an insane amount of times. Like, yeah, the way that somebody who's made of, gummy worms and Red Bull has gone over the ending of Avengers Endgame and been like, there still is a way I believe Iron Man could have saved himself even with the snap.
Yeah, and like in that division, I think that Buffalo Bills team is clearly playing a Chicago Bears with Mitchell Trubisky behind Josh Allen. The dude misses people by 6 yards. I don't expect them to coalesce into a decent offense. Same thing, New York Jets. I haven't seen anything from Darnold. Patriots should be in the driver's seat of this division, but like, hey, this is a betting show. I'm intrigued by the roster and the coaching staff. Miami is probably building something good there. I could see them gel early. Tua survives, has this kind of spark plug rookie year, and becomes this generation's RG3. Book it.
Wow. See, I've always thought that the Pats at 8.5 wins on the season. That's Vegas really doing its work, because if you bet them, you're either a huge believer in Belichick, a Pats fan, or both.
Yep.
And history shows us that's what they do. And I know people say, yeah, but he's without the secret sauce. So let's see how the chef can cook now that his best ingredient that's been in the kitchen for the past 20 years is gone.
Yeah.
I love what Miami's doing. So, I'm in on the Pats, but I can see why a lot of people might say 6-10 reset button. They're not going to tank for Trevor, but the Pats need to take a step back before they move forward in the post Brady era. I think Brian Flores is moving the needle big time down in Miami. They had $100 million in cap room. They signed a bunch. They also robbed the Belichick pantry as well.
But can we admit Kyle Van Noy is a system player? Brady isn't, but Van Noy, 2 years I watched that guy not be able to get snaps on special teams. He is Bill Belichick's greatest achievement. For him to go from being cut to a Pro Bowler, unbelievable job, and maybe he gets exposed like Jamie Collins when he went to Cleveland. Yeah,
like what Belichick did with Kyle Van Noy, it would be like on one of those shows like the Food Network show Chopped, where Belichick would be handed like Hubba Bubba, like a can of SpaghettiOs, rhubarb, and beef jerky, and he'd make like a beef Wellington out of it. Like, that's what Belichick does. I know all these guys that come to Foxborough and then go somewhere else, like a Jamie Collins or a Van Noy, and get paid. These guys got to be running 5 or 10% back, or at least like a really nice edible arrangement to Belichick, because he does exactly what you said, Joel. He finds a system guy, or a guy who couldn't fit in a basic system, finds a way to like hack them, teach them the algorithm of Patriots defense and Belichick 101, and then turns them into stars, and they go somewhere else and get paid and return 75 cents on the dollar, maybe the first couple of years before they get cut and end up coming back to Foxborough. But I like what Brian Flores is doing down there.
Yeah, they're the biggest threat. Buffalo won't be there. New York Jets won't be there. Before we let you go, this was a lot of fun. Last year, we did the suck-off. We did a bracket to determine the worst team ever.
Yeah.
So I read a lot about the 1990 Patriots.
Oh.
They had the reporter scandal. The owner called the reporter a classic bitch, and I think Irving Fryer was doing coke on the field. So do you remember anything about that team?
Oh, there were so many long before your Spygate 2, your Deflategate, all the gates, and the Pats. Look, now we got a kicker with the 3%er tattoo on there.
Yeah.
So we got a kicker gate or tattoo gate. We're only comfortable when we know we're like toe in the sand just over the line everyone else drew, and the rest of the football nation is pissed at us. But you guys, you wouldn't believe how bad, because I'm 46, so I've been going to games down in Foxborough at the original Schaefer. We had our own Silverdome, except it didn't have a roof on it, and it was a bigger shithole, Joel. Schaefer/Sullivan/Foxborough Stadium.
And that's why WrestleMania doesn't go to Foxborough.
There's a reason. That stadium was such a dump. They brought in 200 people once to flush every toilet at the same time, make sure the stadium didn't explode, because they didn't want all the people that were happier in the bathroom than watching the game when the Patriots sucked. There's only one way in and one way out, and the team was so bad. I mean, like Matt Millen actually punched the owner of the Patriots famously in the late 70s coming off the field for a playoff game, and we were all like, yeah, you know what? I wish I was Matt Millen too. Thanks, mustachioed son of a bitch. By the way, you're going to be a terrible GM. And then we had
it's not on Millen. Millen told the Ford family, I'm not ready. Do not give me this job.
They did.
He was hired anyway. Millen gets the blame. The coaching staff gets the blame. But the Patriots, you tell me these stories, we were the same. It's all about ownership.
Yes.
Bob Kraft changed everything. He's the best asset in that franchise. And this isn't just because we once bumped into each other at a Celtics game, Bobby. I got pushed into him by Steven Adams. Most surreal moment of my life.
Dude, that's a story. A giant Aussie bumped a handsome Detroit comedian into the richest man in all of New England, who happens to have a Super Bowl ring.
And of all of us, Robert Kraft had the coolest sneakers. What a guy.
He's always got the coolest sneakers. We had Victor Kayam was the owner, the guy that used to be the Remington Razor King. And he, if anyone listening or watching this clip, go back and YouTube Remington razors, and you'll see like a picture of like, oh, I'm Victor Kayam, and I use these razors. I guarantee the steel is spectacular. And by the way, I'm going to buy a football team and run it into the fucking ground. They went 1-15. They hired Rod Rust, was a former defensive coordinator. He went 1-15 one season. They had Dick McPherson, the old head coach of Syracuse college football. He went 2-14. The big year with him, I think they went 4-12, maybe 3-13. Like, we had Tommy Hodson, Scott Seacules, Rohan. Like, we had all these guys that you would never hear of even getting a sniff or a lick or a whiff of professional football.
Isn't there something beautiful, though, about cheering for a team like that? Like, I know you have been cheering for the Patriots for 20 years, who have been a dynasty, but looking back on those bad teams of the early 90s, isn't that fun? Like, I'm a Rams fan, so most of my life has been cheering for terrible teams, and they just recently got good. And in a weird way, I enjoy watching them less now that they're good, because all it is disappointment. Before, it was all optimism. Like, if they won, it was incredible. Now, when they win, it's expected. When they lose, it's a huge bummer.
Yeah. Wow. You and I have a different definition of enjoyment.
I know.
I never I know apparently like people look at the Brady Belichick relationship and they're like, you know, show me the hottest girl in the world and I'll show you a guy who's tired of effing her, and that's like the Brady Belichick relationship. Right. When it comes to just like being a fan and winning, no. I'll take a dry-aged ribeye over a McDonald's hamburger any night of the week. And by the way, your new uniforms that look like a kid's birthday cake with the font on them, those are just chef's kiss.
They're cute. They're great.
Pats Rams is going to be fun this year if they actually play football.
Yeah.
But no, I don't ever get tired of the winning. It's just that if you've been around long enough, as opposed to like the teenagers, the 20-somethings that have only known awesome because of Brady. Right. A buddy of mine who's a writer for Barstool Sports, Jerry Thornton, his first book about the Patriots' history was called From Darkness to Dynasty. And that's what makes all of this so appreciative, makes all of us so appreciative, because if you were around when they were so bad that the old line would be, some guy would come up to you and be like, yeah, listen, I had 4 extra tickets before I went in the game. I couldn't give them away. I left them on my windshield. When I came out of the goddamn game, there were 8 tickets on my windshield. This team sucks. That was the team we grew up with. And now there's a standard of excellence that has been established that's going to make it difficult for a lot of fans to accept rebuilding, retinkering, or reconfiguring. And you got to touch bottom before you can make your way back up to the top again. So if we're going to be in it for the suck for a while, okay. But if they can play half as well as Stidham is handsome, he can throw the ball as long as the meat missile he's packing in his shorts, Google it, then we're going to be just fine.
All right. Well, a lot of fans are going to be struggling this season to adjust, but you've been through it all. Thank you for joining us, Fitzy, Nick Stevens. You got anything coming out this week you want to plug?
Yeah, I got a new Shit Pats Fans Say video coming out in a couple of days. Just hanging out during the quarantine with one of my original Pats buddies, talking crap. Joel, the work you've done on the NFL fan therapy, both in the quarantine editions and in the original ones, has been awesome. I hope people keep watching them because there's such a variety of personalities, and the fact that you walk in, you have the cock of the walk, and you come in knowing you've just got 3 bullets in your chamber, but you're not going to miss, and you're going to make sure every one of them is a kill shot, is what I absolutely love about it.
Hey, I love doing them. The best moment of my life, I'm at Lions Eagles. I may be on a little bit of an acid trip, and then I get pulled aside and recognized from fan therapy. Oh,
it's the best, right?
Thanks for letting me be a part of it, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, hey, thanks,
awesome.
Nick.
Nice to meet you, Steve. Joel, anytime, you guys. And listen, when you cash that check after you make that 9.5 on the over Tampa 9.5 wins, tell them your old pal Fitzy says you're welcome.
You got it, brother.
All right, that is it for episode 7 of the Pilot On podcast. Joel, I have an important Twitter follower update for you.
Oh, what are we at?
Our goal for this week was 30, and we got 31 followers.
Oh, we're doing incredible. Thank you. I see the appetite for the NFL is there, and we'll be back with you guys every week. I am Joe Walkowski, and that's also my handle on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm The Walkowski. And then my finance comedy podcast, Hold My Bread, got a got a grant, so that's pretty cool to get
Wow.
that recognition. And then I'll be back on the Props Network Monday with a UFC-themed episode of In Action.
Nice. That's great. And if you're not following us yet on Twitter, it is at Pilot On Podcast. We'd love to have you. And our next goal is 35 followers.
Let's go, baby.
Let's
We're there
do it.
already. Four
Let's
more.
do it. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.